Hi Scouts, it's Mr. Kugler, and we're out around the fire pit and we're getting ready to bake some nice little treats with our reflector ovens. We've got a couple different types, a manufactured one which is a copy of a manufactured one from Sweden that's homemade, and then a reflector oven that we made out of a pizza oven, and out of a pizza box, and there's a video that shows how to make that pizza oven here. It's a homemade one. We're going to try some very simple things today. We are going to use some English muffin halves, some squeezed sauce, and some mozzarella grated cheese to make some pizzas. We're going to make some Jiffy cornbread. And we're also going to do some biscuits, some drop biscuits at the same time. So let's get started with our squeezed sauce, and our pizzas here on a pizza screen. So this is a pizza screen. It's about 7-8 inches in diameter. We're going to give it a little spray with some non-stick spray. And we're going to put our English muffin half. A little bit of sauce on this. And then we'll add some of that nice grated Parmesan cheese or mozzarella cheese. I got a little of the mozzarella cheese on the pizza screen. I'm going to fill you in on a little tip for cleanup. Try to minimize as much of the cheese from getting on this pizza screen because it is difficult to clean, especially when you're out in the outdoors. So what we'll do is we'll take and we will put this pizza screen right in here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and I'm going to move my oven a little closer to the fire. That is hot already. We're going to have to keep an eye on that and make sure that it doesn't burn, and we may have to spin that pizza screen around a little bit to be able to do that. Now with our cornbread mix that we're going to do today as well, the Jiffy cornbread mix, I've mixed this up ahead of time. I trust you can figure out how to do that. We could use one of these little foil tins. I've been using it to keep the ash out of it. You could also use a tuna fish can. Just make sure it's obviously clean and been washed well. But this too, we're going to put a little non-stick spray in. Now the trick here is not to make your cornbread batter too deep in this pan, because it is a little temperamental and you could end up with raw in the middle and burnt on the outside. So I've got this on my rack, I think. I'm doing this without really looking, and I'm going to move my reflector oven in closer to the fire. Now what I'm trying to do is reflect the heat off the top of the reflector oven and off the bottom. And it doesn't take a lot of heat to be able to do this. And I'm reminded of the fact that I have one more reflector oven to get in here. So I've got to conserve my space. Now, before I mentioned how we were going to make some Bisquick, and they call they're just the regular biscuits. This is so simple. This was 2 1/4 cups of the dry mix and 2/3 cups of milk. That's it. No eggs, no nothing. Very simple to do when you're out camping. So again, I'm going to use my pizza screen, spray it down, and then come over here where I have a work surface, and I'm going to use a tablespoon and a spatula, rubber spatula, and I'm just going to drop a little dab there. So I've got 3 biscuits here. We're going to put those on our pizza oven, reflector oven, and we are going to get that close to the fire. And let's see how these go. In a moment, we'll take and spin them around, and I'm going to step away from the camera for a second and get a couple tight shots of this. Now I'm going to come in with a glove and spin the pizza a little bit. To help make sure it cooks evenly. Made with an English muffin and some cheese and some squeeze sauce. Look at that, it's gorgeous. So here's a shot of our cornbread on the left and our Bisquick drop biscuits on the right. There's the cornbread. You can notice in the back it's starting to get a little crispy. I should turn that around a little brown, I should say. It's not crispy. And then as we come over here, those biscuits are starting to really brown up nice. And I've spun those around a little while ago and keep trying to change the heat. One of the important things to do is to consider moving your reflector oven in and out depending on the power of your fire, how much heat is coming off. And that'll obviously change as the amount of fuel on your fire changes or burns down or you add more. It's really the reflective heat that is doing the work here. So I'll go in and I'll give these a spin, and then we'll see how they're doing. And you can see that they're starting to look good. I bet you that cornbread is almost done. What we probably should do is go take a knife and we'll stick it into the cornbread and see if it comes out clean, just like a cake. A little moist in the middle, but not bad. I bet you another couple minutes will be good on that, as well as those biscuits. Well, it's looking like it's my favorite time. Time to harvest the fruits of our labor. We'll start with our biscuits, which look amazing. Nice and crisp on the outside, but nice and flaky, I'm sure, on the inside. And then our cornbread. Pardon the little bit of when I checked in the middle there, but we've got a nice cornbread here that's fully cooked. And remember, the trick to this is not going too thick. Baked through, that's about 3/4 of an inch thick at its deepest point. And I guarantee you it'll be just as delicious. We used 3 different reflector ovens here and 3 different items that we cooked that were pretty simple to make. The simple English muffin pizza that had the mozzarella cheese on top of the pizza sauce. The drop Bisquick biscuits, that was nothing but the dry mix and some milk. And we had the cornbread from Jiffy, which was 1 egg, some milk, and the box of Jiffy mix. But what are some other things that you can make in a reflector oven? Well, perhaps you could get the store-made pie crusts that come in a box rolled up in a nice little circle, and cut those, and then add some nice pie filling. This happens to be apple filling, but you could use cherry, you can use blueberry, and cut the pie crust into quarters, put a tablespoon or so in and fold it over on itself, maybe wet the edge where you crimp it together with a fork or with your fingers and put it on a pizza screen and bake that. You'll have a lovely treat there for dessert with some pie filling. Maybe if you think ahead and bring some powdered sugar, you could coat it with some powdered sugar when you're done. You could go as simple as just some of the Poppin' Fresh. These are Pillsbury Grands flaky biscuits that you can go and take and put on that pizza screen in front of the fire in a reflector oven and have some nice biscuits to go along with your dinner that you made while you were camping. Something that you may not think of is just something as simple as chocolate cake. And here's something that you can either use these foil tins or use the tuna fish cans and be able to bake some cakes. And I'll fill you in on a little trick which is helpful when you're backpacking. Take your cake mix, put it in a good quality 1 gallon Ziploc bag, not a trash bag. Put your oil and water and eggs and take and mix it right in the bag by sealing it tight and giving it some, just keep squeezing it until all the ingredients are incorporated. Here's another trick. Take and cut the corner and work it like a pastry bag. And then what you could do is apply the right amount of cake mix into your pan or inside your tuna fish can. And again, just like the cornbread, don't go so thick that you have to worry about it burning and on the outside and being raw in the middle. Another little trick for this is that bring a little bit of powdered sugar, sprinkle it on the top, and you'll be the hero around the campfire with your reflector oven. So the sky's the limit with the different treats that you can do and the different ways that you can use a reflector oven. It doesn't take a lot of time and it doesn't take a lot of fire to be able to do it as well. So I hope you got some new and exciting information, and maybe it's energized you to go out around the campfire and maybe make your own reflector oven out of a pizza box and enjoy your next campfire meal a little differently than you have in the past.